Let me introduce you to the Surefire XR1-A, which is the weapon-mounted light you see right here on my Glock 19. And this is a brand new light that just came out, and the reason I'm introducing it to you is because I don't think anybody else is going to. So, this light just came out on the market. Its MSRP is $404, and companies like Midway USA will have them in stock soon. And of course, they're the biggest supporter of the channel, so big thanks to them for helping me out with projects like this one. However, I did purchase this light myself because it was kind of hard to source, but I have it, which means any of you could have it as well. It's a compact flashlight that's meant to kind of take the place of something like a Streamlight TLR7, and it's packed full of really good features. And in all honesty, I think this light could be what we've all been seeking in the sense of a do-all light when it comes to concealed carry as well as duty use. So I'm really excited about this light. However, it's also the strangest product release I've ever dealt with. No one even knows this light exists yet. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on with the release of this light that we're going to talk about here because it's just crazy. But let's go over the specs. I'm actually going to compare this light to the Streamlight TLR7 that you see right here, which is also a good light. I have a lot of good things to say about the Streamlight TLR7, and it's much more affordable. I mean, these are closer to around $150. However, the new Surefire is in many ways a superior light, so I wanted to compare them to show you the difference and what you should expect when it comes to performance at night. And we're also going to talk about all the technical specs and everything else you want to know because there's really no information about this light. And in all honesty, some of the information that's out there is just flat out wrong because of all the weird things surrounding this product release, which we're going to talk about later in the video because I'm just flabbergasted. I don't understand what's happening here, and I almost feel like I have a stolen product off the back of a truck that fell out of some balloon from China. I have no idea what's going on here. But either way, it's a very good light. So we're going to talk about everything else I just discussed. We're going to talk about how weird of a product release this is. And in all honesty, I think it's a light you might want to consider even at its high price point of $404 because it brings so much to the table, and it might be like the one and done type of weapon mounted light we've all been looking for. So let's move into the technical specs and then into the weird product release aspect of this light next. All right, so here's everything that comes with the Surefire XR1-A, and this is the light itself right here. We're going to talk about the specs of this light. We're going to compare it to a Streamlight TLR7 since I would say it's its main competitor. I'm going to show you the performance difference at night, and then we're also going to talk about how this is a really weird product release and that I'm not really sure what Surefire is doing. But first and foremost, this light has a 30-minute runtime on a full charge. And what's nice about that is that when you turn it on, this little LED indicator on the back, which is called the body fuel gauge, changes colors based on the level of charge your battery has. So I think that's a really nice feature. You can see where your battery's at without having to remove it from the light. But there's other features similar to that, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Now, this has a dual parabolic reflector system it uses, which are basically two lamp heads that converge to make an ultra hot spot in the center of the light. So it seems to work very well. I'm not sure why it required two separate lights to accomplish that, but 800 lumens with a 15,000 candela output definitely seems to be very strong in my opinion based on the focus of that hotspot. So it works very well. I'm not sure how it works, but it does seem to work, and it's supposed to produce a 245 meter throw. So you can see when you turn them on, it kind of just looks like one light, but you can see there are two separate lights being turned on right there. And if I just shine it on the desk, look at that hotspot, very focused. Okay, now, because of that, let's talk about the performance of this light at night. I'm going to show you at different distances between 20 yards and 50 yards, and I'm going to compare it with the Streamlight TLR7 just so you have an idea as to just how much, I would say, more powerful this light is than the TLR7 and why I'm so excited about it. All right, this is the XR1-A at 20 yards. This is the TLR7 at 20 yards. XR1-A at 50 yards. TLR7 at 50 yards. So now that you've seen the XR1-A and the TLR7 compared, let's talk about some additional specifications of this light, which by the way, I can only get from the manual or from the box, since there's really not any information online about this light, and some of the information out there is just completely wrong, but we're gonna talk about that here in a minute because, like I said, a very, very strange product release. But first and foremost, it has an anodized aluminum body that weighs 2.2 ounces in total. So it's a lightweight, durable little light, and it's made by Surefire, so I have every reason to believe it'll hold up to whatever abuse you might put it through. But at 2.2 ounces, it's, you know, within the standard of most weapon-mounted lights. Now, it comes with different rail keys, and this one is actually the Picatinny key, so that works for, you know, Gen 5 Glock pistols and a myriad of other pistols as well. But you also get the S key right here, which is specifically for the Sig Sauer P320. And then you also get the U key, which is your universal rail key. So that'll work for Gen 3 Glocks and a ton of other pistols as well. So you have a lot of options when it comes to mounting this weapon light to different handguns. Now the battery is not the XSC battery. It looks very similar, but according to the manual, this is the B13 battery, whereas the XSC uses a B12 battery. Now, if these batteries become available, which I'm sure they will, but right now they're not, they should cost around the same as an XSC, I would assume, which is about 35 bucks. So just keep that in mind. But these batteries are actually really cool, and I want to go ahead and talk about that for a second here. You pull on this lever right here, and the battery will come out of the housing, okay? And now you can actually get your other battery, if you're able to purchase one, of course, and put it right into the light and be back up and running. So you don't have to wait to charge the light itself to keep your light up and running. You just need additional batteries in this configuration. So it basically has the best of both worlds. A rechargeable battery that can be swapped out so that you can get your light back up and running and then charge this other battery while this new battery is installed. So that's why I really like this actually compared to some of the other designs that are out there. Think about something like maybe the O-Light or whatever else you want to compare it to, but in regards to rechargeable, this actually works pretty well. Now, you can see here where the battery sits in there and then how it connects right there, okay? What's cool is also, you don't have to remove the light from the gun to get the battery off. It comes right out without having to remove the light, which means if you get one of the laser added modules, you can actually keep that on your gun and keep your zero. So that's a benefit as well. Now the battery itself, just like I showed you before on the body of the light, has its own LED indicator. So you come over here and you push the button and it tells you how much of a charge you have, right? So I'll show you that again. So I'm at 2/3 of a charge right now, which is great. And honestly, it's just nice for managing your battery power and for allowing you to keep an eye on where your battery life is. So it's another option that allows you to manage that as well as what's on the light body itself. So you have a lot of ways to know exactly where your battery life stands. Now, go ahead and put that back in and it just clicks right back in, no issue at all, right? So nice and easy, I appreciate that a lot. Okay, this is the charging cradle that it comes with. And this charging cradle is not the same as the XSC either. So this one is actually labeled CH22 and the XSC's charging cradle is labeled CH21. So no big deal, but it is what it is. And this is obviously where you charge your battery. So I'll show you some B-roll real quick here of that actually being charged. But the way you would work that is obviously you take the battery out, okay? And you're going to just slide it right in the cradle and then it will charge once it's plugged in with the provided USB cable. So, you know, you get everything you need to keep everything up and running and keep everything charged. And then it comes with some Velcro you can attach to the back of the cradle. If you want to put it somewhere that's a little more obscure or even mount it on the wall or on the side of your safe or something, you can do that. So it gives you those options and it seems to work pretty well, okay? So let's talk about everything else related to this really strange little system. The manual itself actually has fuel tables which show you exactly what you should expect when it comes to your battery charges. So it gives you all the information there, and I'll go ahead and flash in some of those graphs or tables basically that they put together to tell you exactly what the LED indicators mean. But all of it's very intuitive and well thought out, so I like that quite a bit. So all in all, specification-wise, I mean, this is a really functional light that has a lot of awesome features going for it, especially the fact that I can get additional batteries eventually, I assume, and then be able to just keep swapping them out while charging the other ones. So for any type of a situation where you'd be concerned about like, oh, what if my battery dies and I have to recharge it? Well, that's why you just buy an additional battery and swap it in. And as you can see, you don't even have to take the light off the gun in order to do that. So there's just a lot of benefits here as to how this works. And I really like the idea of this light as being like a go-to do everything type light, right? For concealed carry, but also for any type of like a duty capacity or whatever. I mean, this light has a lot of capability. But there is one issue. Well, there's a couple issues, but we're going to talk about that, and it has nothing to do with the performance of the light and everything to do with the way it was released. So, why is this the strangest product release I've seen in a really long time? All right, so let's go over why this is such a weird product release, and then also talk about the fact that there's some issues with this light that have nothing to do with the light itself, which is not what I anticipated. But the light itself, really, I have no complaints about. The only thing you might notice about it that might throw you a curveball is that the controls are slightly different to like an X300, where you don't push on the buttons to activate them, you have to push down on them. So similar to a TLR7, but that's like the only main difference that you're gonna find that, you might be used to the other style of controls, so that could throw you a curveball. But either way, first off, there's no social media announcements about this light at all. Surefire hasn't talked about it at all. There's no press release, there's no anything. But this light is available. Go look online right now. You can buy this light. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it's available. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. I have it. And like I said, I bought it with my own money. So this is not something that's like special to me because I'm on YouTube or something. Like, this is just on the market. Although, if you look at Surefire's social media accounts, like their Instagram, or if you looked at Surefire's website even, it doesn't even exist. They don't have this light on their website at all, which I don't understand because I can buy it. So it just doesn't exist, except for the fact that I have it right here in my hand. Now, that's kind of a problem because if you wanted to do research and try to figure out what was going on, you can't go to the source. So that's an issue, but hey, that's what I'm here for. That's why I went over all the specs with you so you know what it actually is capable of. Now, a problem with this whole situation is that there's no holster support at all, because none of the holster manufacturers knew this light was even coming out or possibly even existed. How do I know that? Because I've talked to like 12 different holster manufacturers, some mainstream ones and some smaller shops as well, and none of them were aware of this light coming out. None of them have molds or anything ready to go for it, and a lot of them aren't sure if they're ever going to make even a holster for it, which is unfortunate because I want to use this light, but I can't use it if I can't carry it. If I can't carry it, I can't use the light for what it's intended for, unless it's just a home defense gun. But this is a really expensive weapon light for a home defense gun, in my opinion. So I want a holster for it, but nobody makes one. And we're going to talk about this here in just a second, but there was some speculation as to what it should work with, which isn't true. What am I talking about? Well, here's the thing. This light was introduced at SHOT Show 2019. So 5 years ago. This light was introduced 5 years ago. Not in the original configuration, it's not the same as what it is now from 5 years ago, but the XR1 was introduced at SHOT Show 2019. So this thing's been in the ether for 5 years. And after 5 years of just hanging around in purgatory, no holster companies have been able to make a holster for it, or were aware that it was going to be coming out. Which makes no sense. And back then, the literature from the original XR1 being introduced at SHOT Show 2019 said that it would work with XC1 compatible holsters, which it does not, because I own 2 holsters now that are XC1 compatible in anticipation of getting this light, and they don't work because of the battery pack being too deep. It just drops a little bit too below the trigger guard, and it just doesn't work with those holsters at all. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Is this light even legal? Like, did this fall off the back of a truck and I'm not actually supposed to have it, but somehow I do, even though I bought it legitimately from a distributor? Like, what is this? What's going on here, Surefire? I need to know because I want to use this light. This light brings everything I want in a weapon-mounted light to the table. It has everything I wanted. It's rechargeable, but also the batteries are swappable. It has a really high lumen output of 800 lumens with a really bright hot spot that you can focus on, no problem at all. And it's compact, so it doesn't make your holster larger by running a more powerful light. It's everything I want in a light. Oh, and by the way, it's made by Surefire, which makes me feel comfortable in the sense that it's probably going to do the job it was meant to do, more so than something that was, predominantly made in China. So this is the light I want to run. I want this on my Glock 45 configuration. It's on the 19 right now because I have it mounted to this frame since I can't carry it. And I'm carrying my Glock 45, so it has a TLR7 on it right now. But if I could carry this light, like, this would be the one and done light for me. Like, everything about it has been great. I haven't had a single issue with it. All the features are awesome. It's expensive. That would be like the biggest downfall of this light, is that it's $400 frickin' dollars, right? But it's a Surefire, so they're all $400. I don't know what else to say. But this this release just doesn't make any sense, because how can you possibly expect there to be hype for this new light, which is like, should be like the holy grail of pistol mounted lights, if you don't have any holster support for it, if you don't have any social media announcements about it, if you don't have any information about it on your website at all? But someone like myself, a member of the general public, just has it now. How does that work? I just don't understand. So if you're a holster company and you're watching this, please make a holster for this. Please. I would love to just carry this gun. Okay, but I'm just not that crafty in the sense of working with Kydex. Like, I don't trust myself to make something that I can rely on. I want a good quality holster from a good quality manufacturer. And look, I mean, I even talked to companies like Safariland, who has proprietary holsters they make with Surefire for their Masterfire series. And they had no idea this light was coming out. Like, they had no idea. I was the first person to talk to them about it, and they're like, hold on, what are you talking about? So, like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. If you guys need help with marketing over at Surefire, give me a call, all right? Maybe I can give you some direction. I don't know, but this is just crazy talk. So look, this is an awesome light. I highly recommend this light, but just be aware that you're gonna have to wait for a couple things. One, extra batteries, right? Because I don't think they're available right now at all. And two, a holster of any kind. Any holster of any kind from any manufacturer, because none of them have them. Zero. Unless I'm wrong, which I hope I am, and if I am wrong and you're a holster company that makes a holster for the XR1-A that just came out, let me know and I will literally buy it. So hopefully this gave you some things to think about, and hopefully this is just a little bit of, I don't know, insight as to how some of the marketing works within this industry, because like, I just don't get it. But is what it is. If you need anything else from me at all, go to magicprepper.com, and besides that, that's gonna be it for Magic Prepper.